is Sanya On-Air. This is Sanya On-Air. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to Season 8 of Sanya On-Air, home of celebrity interviews. But before we get started with another amazing edition of Sanya On-Air and another great season of celebrity interviews, do me a huge favor. Make sure that you subscribe to all Sanya On-Air streaming platforms. That would be Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button below. I have a great guest for you. We're starting off Season 8 in the most amazing way. I have been following this amazing actress and singer since she first starred on Greenleaf on the Oprah Winfrey Network. I have none other than Deborah Joy Winans. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Don't you look beautiful and melanin?
Oh, look, girl, hey, we got to get that sun. What else is there to do right now?
I know. I know. I'm trying to get something. I'm doing well. You know, everything that's been going on in the world, the only thing that we can do is stay close to God and just, keep the faith and just keep pushing forward. So that's what I've been doing. What about you?
Amen. All the same. Trying to remain hopeful and not allow anger or bitterness to kind of set up in my heart, because that's very easy to do.
Yeah.
Just remaining hopeful and prayerful and trying to make sure I get all the messages out to vote, because that's what we have. That's a tool that we have. Whether or not we feel like it's going to work, our ancestors fought and died for it. So it is our duty and our obligation to get out and vote.
Yes, it is. I started my morning off with that same conversation. One of my friends had posed a question on Facebook. He is a Emmy-nominated producer, and he just wanted to know, what does it mean for Black people to go out and vote? And when I saw the responses to his post, it was still concerning and alarming to me that people really don't understand the magnitude of their voices and how this presidential election and upcoming elections are so important. So I'm glad that you started off this conversation encouraging everyone out there to go ahead and vote. Your voice matters. But let me tell you, Deborah, you are a journalist's dream. Let me tell you why. As an actress, and also me as a viewer, I want to believe in the character. I want to explore the gamut of emotions. I want to love you one day. I want to hate you the next day. I want to root for you the next day. I want to feel disappointed in you the next day. And you effortlessly did that in Greenleaf from season 1 to season 5. We hated to love you, but we love to hate you. So let's just talk about the birth and the evolution of your character, Charity Greenleaf, on the Oprah Winfrey Network, Greenleaf. So how did you get the role as Charity Greenleaf?
Absolutely. So I was doing a workshop for the musical that I ended up playing my aunt in, Born for This, the B.B. Winans story. It was my uncle's musical. And we did a workshop of it in New York. And Miss Winfrey came to that workshop, and she remembered me a couple months later when she got this script. And, she said she had mentioned me to the network, and unfortunately, no one knew who I was. And I said, well, they wouldn't. I haven't done anything yet. And she said, that's okay. I think that they'll see what I see when it's time for you to audition. And I'm going to open the door for you as wide as I possibly can. And so when I went into audition, it was maybe about a month after that phone call with her. And it was all a dream. I was at a point in my life where I was really asking God. I'd gotten so many no's, and that's the business we're in. You get a lot of no's, and even for the strongest person, because I'm from Detroit, and I believe that we are a very resilient people. But even for the strongest person, a lot of no's can really make you doubt what you feel like you've been called to do. And I was at a point of just kind of doubting and maybe thinking, did I get it wrong? Did I get it wrong, God? Like, is this not the gift that you gave me? So when she called, that was just a confirmation for me to keep going, stay on the path. And then I did my audition, and then I went in once again to meet with the creator of the series, Craig Wright, along with the casting director, Kim Coleman. And I got the call the next day that I got it, and I was at Trader Joe's, walking out of Trader Joe's on Sunset and Vine, and I was with my brother, my husband, my niece, my sister, and we lost our minds. We were screaming at the cars going by, screaming at people walking by. They were like, "These people are crazy." But that is how I got the role of Charity Greenleaf, and what a ride it has been.
Wow, it has been a ride, even for an avid viewer like myself. But I just want to really just kind of repeat what resonated with me, because that was a word right there. I always tell people, as soon as you leave your front door, it is lights, camera, action. You never know who's watching and who's listening. So always put your best foot forward. And little did you know that Oprah Winfrey was going to be in the same space, in the same room, noticing the shine in you, and hence you launched and secured your very first role. That's amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think also, when you learn in school, in your training, they've always taught you that no role is small. So be excellent at everything that you do. I don't care if you have one line, if you have no lines. If you take the part, be excellent.
Yeah.
And and be prepared so that when your yes does come, you can step right into it. That's one thing that I loved about my training. Nothing was too small. And when you learn that nothing is too small and you give it everything you have, it only makes you better.
Yeah.
It's not about, well, I didn't get as much shine as so and so. It doesn't matter. What's yours is yours. But
Right.
the only way to get to what's yours is to be great at everything that you do.
Yeah, so true. Oh man, that's a word. I'm just kind of receiving all of these positive affirmations, because we need this in these trying
Amen.
time spaces. So thank you
Amen.
for again just pouring another word out to the universe. But let's just talk about your character. So you thing, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Is the name of your character Chastity or Charity?
Charity.
Charity.
Charity Greenleaf. Yes. So it's also that you've got grace, and then you've got faith, and then you've got charity.
Charity. I don't know. Child, I didn't rename your character for 5 seasons. I'm calling you Chastity.
Well, you're not the only one. It actually kind of happened as a joke as well, because, she hadn't been with anyone other than her husband, and she did everything right, initially, and felt like, what did that get me? Charity went through a lot. Charity went through a lot.
So starting from season 1 with Charity,
yes.
You now have the name correctly. So many challenges, so many struggles, so many obstacles that Charity had to overcome. When she first stepped into the scene in season 1, we saw her finding out that her husband was exploring his sexuality and trying to understand that he was gay. That was huge for me as a viewer, because the church doesn't really explore those type of storylines too much. And we're all in this space of really understanding and embracing the LGBT community. So was there any viewer who really acknowledged and applauded you for carrying this storyline and bringing it to television?
Well, none of that is my call or say so anyway. The writer's room for Greenleaf was absolutely fantastic. Helmed by the creator, Craig Wright. They always looked to explore the somewhat taboo subjects, or the the area that's kind of less talked about, less roamed, and just sort of bring it to life. But they also wanted to make sure that they did it in a very sincere and very loving way, because they also were not out to make the church look bad or make the church seem as if they were against anyone or anything. They just wanted to explore certain subjects as well as honor the cornerstone of really the Black community. And so they always did it with a loving way, which I give them complete props for. They really made sure they honored the church, as well as explored different things, as well as just make really good TV. A lot of it, people would talk to us about, is this based on so and so? And we're like, no, it's not based on anybody. They just wanted to take great subject matter and then make really, really interesting TV. And so that's what they did. So I have no props for the writing. That's what they did. And I just tried my best to be sincere about it, and to bring it to life as honestly as possible. You're always going to get people who agree with you and people who don't. And that's fine. I'm an actor. That's not my job. My job is to take the story and bring it to life. But there were people that just felt like Charity didn't really listen to him and didn't really go through counseling or give him a chance. But there were also people that were like, we get it.
Yeah.
You understand where he is, and you understand that there really isn't a space for you there, at least not at this moment, not a space that you can fully walk into or understand. She found out about her husband at the height of her pregnancy with twins.
Yeah.
So imagine, that all those hormones, and
Mm-hmm.
then feeling like your husband wants something that you could never give him.
Right.
And so, and then, she ends up in the hospital. She ends up losing one of the babies. So the anger, the hurt, the despair, they weren't gonna make it. So I see the people that are like, Charity didn't give him a chance, but she did.
But
And I also think that she understood things prior to getting married, that she's like, oh, that was that red flag that I saw and I chose to ignore. And now here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what we appreciated the most as viewers. We appreciated the journey and the exploration of the relationship. Can I endure? Is this too much? Is there a space for me in this relationship? Can I accept this? I love that it just was so simple, where we saw a Black woman make up her mind and say, I can't do this, when her husband told her that he was gay. But you also mentioned another impressive storyline where Charity lost one of the twins. That was a teachable moment for me, because I didn't even realize that if a woman was pregnant with twins, she could lose one of the babies and still have the other baby survive. So that was such like, oh my gosh, a teachable moment. It wasn't just entertainment for the viewers.
Absolutely. And it was, I just think it was really important to tell and to be vulnerable, for a lot of women, particularly Black women, women of color. We feel like we got to run the world and be the very best at everything, which, I mean, they've basically made us be the best at everything, because the moment we slip a little bit, praise God. So I think it was really good to be able to see this woman of color go through something so severe and really have a moment. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be the strongest every day. You don't have to act as if things do not hurt you, or things are not penetrating your thoughts, your feelings, your heart. Go through it. And I think a lot of us need to be able to see a woman like Charity go through things that are actually real life things, and see how she handles it, especially being a woman of faith. We don't always handle it the perfect way. We're not perfect. We are human. And so to see this woman of color walk through this and make some mistakes and make some great decisions, I think was really, really, really important. I think that's why people love to hate her and hate to love her, because she's going through the very things in life that a lot of us go through. And we see her handle it in some ways that we know are not good, but ways that we have thought to handle things ourselves. And so it's like, oh, she did what I want to do, but I know I can't do.
Right.
And so we live vicariously through her. But yeah, I thought it was so beautiful to really show what us as women are going through, and to see a young woman and how she handles it, not so gracefully and gracefully, and just kind of walk it out. That was one of, I really, really enjoyed those moments, and I made sure that I let Craig Wright know that this is an important piece of her story to tell, and I thought that he did it so beautifully.
Yeah. So in telling the story, that the writers had written for you and exploring those often hard storylines, your husband is gay. You're married, you're pregnant with twins, and then you miscarry one. Was there anyone who contacted you and said, you know what you portrayed on television helped me in my real life? Did anyone reach out to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've had quite a few fans reach out, send messages via DM or Facebook, or Twitter, and just say, thank you for speaking on this, or thank you for being vulnerable in this area. This has really allowed me to sort of speak my freedom, and actually get therapy.
Yeah.
We had quite a few people let us know that various subject matters that we sort of walked through allowed them the freedom to decide to get therapy.
Mm.
Therapy, is really taboo in the Black culture. It's really, don't talk about going to get therapy. And I think that we're just now realizing how beneficial it is and how important it is. And it's good for all of our mental health, not just the people that may be diagnosed with a problem, but people that just simply need to talk things out. I tell people all the time, I am saved. I love the Lord. He is my Lord and Savior. And whatever I have, I take it to the altar. But you also have to recognize that God anointed therapists. There are people that went to school that understand the mind, that understand how to communicate, how to work through things. That is a gift from God. And
Yeah.
so don't, um, I think that we can really start to normalize therapy in various different ways, from family therapy to self therapy to couples therapy. It is all normal and necessary, and I love that. We had a lot of fans that let us know they were able to go to therapy because of this, and that's really awesome for me.
But that's another ingredient of a great show. Not only the wonderful writers and the actors who bring the words to life, but when you have people telling you how you impacted their lives. So now it's kind of normalizing the things that have been taboo in
Hmm.
society, dealing with a man who may be gay, losing a child in childbirth. So I'm glad that you sparked the conversations for the world to kind of explore and have conversations with themselves, with their friends, or even with a mental health expert. So, like I said, I was just tuned in every single week. But, I just want to marry your real life as Deborah Joy Winans and as Charity Greenleaf. Now, I love when art imitates life, or when art has the potential to imitate life. Now, you come
Hmm.
up from a very iconic family, the Winans family. Love them. Okay. So we also saw Charity Greenleaf struggle with finding her footing, feeling neglected and ignored by her family because they were all leaders in their own right. You,
Hmm.
as Deborah Joy Winans, did you kind of feel the same thing navigating through the dynamics of the Winans family?
I never did, which I'm so grateful for. There are very few spaces where my life and Charity Greenleaf's life coexist, and I'm grateful. um, uh, and and that is not one of them. I have two older brothers, one younger, grew up as the only girl in my family. And so I never, I never felt invisible. I always felt very well loved. I always felt heard. My parents were not the people that forced us to sing because my dad, sang with the Winans and traveled, and my aunt is CC, and my uncle. None of that was ever. That was always just, oh, that's my family. And so I never felt that. I've always felt very, very well loved, and so and able to go after my dreams and my passions and support it in that way as well. And so I did not feel Charity's pain in that aspect. But what was interesting and what I loved, which is so funny because singing for me was, I've never wanted to sing. That's not a passion of mine. Acting was always my passion growing up. And so when I found out I had to sing for this role, and I had never recorded in the studio, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really going to be hard. The part that I loved was that it was worship music. My favorite part of service has always been the worship. I always feel like if the worship is right and if it's on point, it really just opens your heart and gets you ready for whatever the word is that day. And so worship has always just been, oof. Like if we get to church and we miss worship, I'm mad. And that's not a way to be sitting in church. You can't just be sitting in church mad and then you can't really hear the word because you just mad. Like that's not cute. But worship was my favorite part. So when I found out I was the worship leader, that was so exciting to me. To be able, even when we shoot it, I've already sung it, so I'm mostly lip syncing, but when we're shooting it, the actual scene, and we're in that church, we always had a moment because I always believe if we gonna worship, we gonna worship. I'm gonna do it with my whole heart. And I really, truly believe that the presence of the Lord met us there. And that was exciting to me. That's one part where Deborah Joy and Charity absolutely coincide. That was my favorite.
But I also, art does imitate life because you said, worship and the singing was the best part of the church service for you. So to be able to do that professionally, as the music director on Greenleaf, it was like you kind of manifested it without even knowing it. So that's great to know. But so wait a minute. So you weren't singing before you secured the role. It just kind of happened.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm not. I've always wanted to act. So I got my BFA in acting from Wayne State University. Then I spent a month in Moscow studying at the Moscow Art Theater School, and then I moved to LA and I got my Master's of Fine Arts in Acting from Cal Arts. That's been my love. That's been my passion, and so that's what I went for. Now, what I do tell people is, work every gift that God has given you. And that's something I wish I would have done previously. Really, really, really worked on my singing because when I initially started, my confidence was low in that area. And it really forced me to kind of sink or swim. Like I had to get it together. I was in the studio and my Uncle BB helped me with those first few recordings, but he's so harsh. When I tell you, after like recording 2 of the songs, I had to record 4 songs in one day. After recording 2 of them, I went to the bathroom and cried my eyes out because it was so hard. And he was so rough, and he laughed at me. Till this day, he laughs. He's like, I know you crying. Go on and get back in that booth. You're going to be fine. I was like, I'm not though. I'm not going to be fine. This is really hard. But it was, you got to do what you got to do at that point. And so I tell people, work every gift because your gift is not for you. If God has given you a gift, it is for you to share with the world. He wants to touch people through that gift. And so it's not for you. It's not about you. And so now, I'm like taking voice lessons. I'm really trying to make sure I am using every gift that he's given me so that whatever is next, whatever happens, I'm ready. And I'm ready with confidence to give and to serve. And when I do it well, I know that God can touch people through it.
Yes, that was another word. When people congratulate me, they say, "Oh, Sanya, great show," or "You just said something or did something that was amazing. Thank you." I'm like, that wasn't even me. Like, I'm just open to allowing God to use me. So I'm just a
Absolutely.
manifestation of what He has poured into me. It is not me at all. I take no credit for it.
Absolutely.
It's the man above. So you just giving us
Amen.
a whole bunch of words today, Miss.
Amen. Amen. I agree with you 100%.
Going back to Charity, we talked about all of those challenges, those obstacles that she had to overcome. I know that was so hard. So once the director yelled, "Cut," was it so hard for you to kind of detach yourself and not hold on to the baggage of the character of Charity?
Oh no. No. I'll let her go. I love Charity. And I'm just not sure. Maybe it's just the way I'm made up. Maybe it's the way that I work. But I had to make sure I let her go when I left work, because there was so much insecurity there. And if you do not separate, which, it's easy for me to separate who I am from whatever character I'm playing at that time. And because when you don't, and in this case for Charity, if I don't separate from that, then that has a bearing on my personal life and in my house. And, I think as an individual, I'm married. I've been married for over 7 years. And I think, even when you come into a marriage, you are still becoming who God has called you to be. There's still change, there's still growth that's happening. And so I'm not adding the baggage of a character onto the growth and the change that's already happening in the midst of me and my husband and our marriage. And so no, that's too much. When they say cut, I'm like, all right, I'll see y'all later. If it was an emotional scene, then we always, whoever our scene partner is, we're always like, when they say cut, okay, we hug each other. You good? I'm good. That was amazing. Great work. Love playing with you. All right, see you later. And let's go get something to eat. Like, we're, I think there's a difference in sharing a great heavy moment with another cast member and really playing and really going deep and making that work. And then when it's cut, it's like, all right, that was lovely.
Yeah.
But no, it's never, I'm not sure why, but it's never been hard for me to let go of that character and move forward, in my daily life. And I think it's imperative for me, because you don't want to bring baggage into your home. I don't have time for that.
Me either. Ain't nobody got time for that.
With the devil. I ain't playing with the devil. There's too much to do in life to be lingering in the baggage of character.
Exactly. But not everyone is an actor. People go to work their 9 to 5, but it's the same type of message. Once you walk out at the end of the day, that is sort of like the director telling you cut. Do not bring the baggage home to your children, to your husband, to your wife. No one deserves it. So I'm glad that you mentioned that too.
Absolutely.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. In the Lifetime biopic, did you play your aunt Cece?
I did.
Lifetime of Whitney. So you played Cece's.
I did. I can't seem to get away from her. It's really incredible. It's really incredible. And I literally just saw her like 2 days ago. I can't get away from her. It's really funny. But yes, I did. It was such an honor to be called to play her in the Lifetime film Whitney, and then to play her once again in my uncle's musical Born for This, the BB Winans story, which I got to play her and my brother got to play BB. So we were on stage together singing and dancing and, learning about who they really were and what they went through and how they became BB and CC. So I've been CC a couple times, and I must say, that woman she's remarkable.
She is. She is.
Yeah.
My best friend, your aunt, she sung a song, "Count on Me." I believe that's the name of it.
Hmm. With
And
Whitney.
I dedicated that
Hmm.
song to my best friend years and years ago when it first came out. So your aunt
Yeah.
has been very instrumental in my life with her positive.
Yes.
So tell Cece I said hello.
I will. I will. She loves that because she truly is. She truly is who people think she is. A lot of times we see celebrities, on TV or in a show, and we're like, I wonder if they're that nice. She really is. She's like, we call her the Lord's personal angel.
Wow.
So she's really amazing. But what she does is always meant to affect someone in a really great way and draw them closer to God. And so she loves knowing that anything she did was able to impact someone in that positive way. So I will absolutely tell her.
Please do, because she definitely impacted my life and my.
Yeah,
I want
that's
to
so
talk
awesome.
about. I want to shift and talk about love for a moment because
Mhm.
I did see you and your husband on Black Love on the Oprah Winfrey Network, and
Yeah.
I'm always looking for teachable moments. I'm not walking through life like tweety tweety. Like I
Hmm.
want something that's going to sustain and uplift me. And
Hmm.
your husband, he said something that was so profound. I had to start a group text and share it with everyone who I thought would receive it. Your husband said when you two were dating that he was just happy and confident knowing that you would be a possibility instead of another woman being the option. I said,
Hmm.
Jesus, what?
Yeah.
That was huge. So how long did you and your husband date before you got married?
So we were friends. We became friends, fast friends. We started hanging out and like really, really, really just friends. I would like no makeup, looking crazy, sweats, like, hey, oh yeah, we going to the movies. We were just really, really good friends. And we were friends for about 8 months, I think, before he asked me out on a date. Our first date was March 2011.
Look at you.
I remember it because it was my dad's birthday. It was March 5th. My dad is Carvin. Well, my dad and my uncle Marvin, because they're twins. So it was their birthday. And I remember my dad, being silly, talking about, so because he hadn't met him yet. So so this is the guy that's been your friend. Well, what time are you getting home? Mind you, I'm very grown. I was like, Dad, don't worry about it. He was like, nope, you better call me when you get home. I was like, Dad, I'm not calling you when I get home. He was like, all right, well, I'm going to tell everybody that my daughter didn't call me for my birthday if you don't call me when you get home. I was like, you would be telling a story, so you shouldn't do that. But it was March 5th. That was our first date. It was his law school dinner. It was the year he was graduating. He went to Pepperdine Law School. So it was his law school dinner, which is held in the Beverly Hilton where the Golden Globes are usually held. And so he was like, yeah, that was our first date. So when you win your first Golden Globe, you better talk about the first time you were in this room.
Yeah.
But that was our first date. And then he proposed to me in November of 2011. And then we got married in 2013, March of 2013.
Nice. So I always
Yeah.
believe that before you call someone, your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, I think it's important that you date and that you are friends. But were you dating? I mean, were you friends with him knowing that he could be your future?
Nope.
No? Because let me
Nope.
tell you something. I still find it kind of difficult to believe that you can be friends with the opposite sex because I believe that somebody's going to like someone eventually if they don't like each other at the beginning. So were you in a
Well, I mean, we
relationship?
did like each other eventually, but no, we were friends. We were friends. Now, I think his perspective may be a bit different. Um, as we began to just become really, really good friends, because he did say that, he had someone else that he was kind of dating and talking to. But when he knew that he wanted something more from our relationship, he knew, okay, because we were such good friends and he didn't want to mess that up, he had to really, really think about it and really come correct, which was why he said he was willing to try, because the possibility, just the possibility of me was better than the absolute of the other girl that he was kind of talking to. And so he shut that down, and was willing to see if this was going to be something. And literally our first date, it was the easiest transition. It was like, oh, he's my best friend, and now he's like my guy. Oh my gosh, this is really. But before that, we really were just friends. And I don't think it's impossible for you to be just friends with the opposite sex. But I do think that you have to be honest and recognize, are you guys really just friends? And we were just friends, but I think that he had other things in mind, and it moved in that direction, and when it was supposed to. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, good. And you also mentioned on that episode something that would be kind of taboo for many Black women. You said that you would follow him anywhere, even if it meant that you would leap off the edge of a building, because you knew and you trust him so much that he would have something waiting to catch your fall. I thought that was so huge. So allowing your man to lead, give me an example of what that looks like in your relationship.
We're certainly partners, but I believe in order. I believe in the word of God, and I do believe that he is the head of our house. And it doesn't mean that I don't have a say. I always have a say. And really, for the most part, he's just so easy that if I say I want something or I feel like I need something, he will break his back to make it happen. But then there are moments where he says, you know what, Joy, I don't feel so good about this. And I say, oh, okay. Tell me why. Or vice versa. If I really, really think I want something and he's like, no, I don't think so. Okay, well, this is why I want this, da, 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 da. But I think it's about just allowing us to really communicate. And then at the end of the day, for me, he has the last say. I just think that that's the way God's order flows. And when I know I serve God, and I know that's the order that he's placed, I'm only just more blessed and getting more benefits when I do things that way. And I think that it's been a real blessing to our home. I don't want the mantle of having to lead. That's a huge mantle. I don't want that, of having to make sure everything is okay, of protecting, that's not my mantle. He is our leader. He's my protector. He is my, he makes sure that we're good. He takes care of us. That's a mantle that I think is fit for the leader. And that's not for me. I'm not called to protect him. He's called to protect me.
So does that mean, let's say if he makes a decision that you just don't agree with and you have a difference of opinion, will you still allow him to make the final decision even though you believe otherwise?
I will. I think that, and I also think it depends on what that is. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm pregnant and he's saying, I think you need to do this, and I'm like, no, my body's telling me I need to do this. He's not going to say, well, no, follow me. That's stupid. So I think it just depends on what it is. But yeah, for the most part, absolutely. Because I believe that even though I may not fully understand his reasoning, there's a blessing in being obedient to the call that is on his life, and the call that's on our marriage. And it doesn't mean that he won't make a mistake. It doesn't mean that I won't make a mistake. But I do still believe that God will bless us working on being obedient to his word. There's always a blessing in obedience.
It is. Yeah. It is. But I'm gonna be, just transparent and authentic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I struggle with that. Maybe that's why I'm still single. I struggle with just making sure, just letting him lead all the time. And maybe this is for you too. I believe the partnerships should always be 50-50, where sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. If that could be the part of the conversation, I don't have a problem with it. But when a man,
well, I think that it does. I think that as you grow together, you understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. And in places that I'm strong, he doesn't try to lead or be overbearing.
okay,
That's just not, you know what I mean? But I think that comes when you have the right partner.
yeah,
It's not I'm the man, so listen to me. That's not what it is. We are very much so partners, but I absolutely 100% will come under his authority. I'm very much good with who I am. And so when you know who you are and your partner knows who you are, it's never about, look at me, I got to be the leader. We understand each other's strengths and weaknesses.
yeah,
And where I'm strong, he's like, no, babe, that's you. You got that.
right,
That's all you. And where I'm not strong, particularly when it comes to math and counting and money, that's not my strong suit. But he's incredibly smart when it comes to all of that. So what do I look like saying, no, I still need to be able to do da 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 da? That's silly to me. That's not my strength. That's his. So why would it be hard to just say, oh, okay, we're gonna do that? Okay, cool, that makes sense.
yeah,
We run everything by each other, but there's too much happening in life to try to have my hand and my decision in every single thing.
yeah,
That's just not the way we were meant to operate as human beings.
yeah.
And so,
I believe you, and I definitely agree. On many of your statements. It's really about just finding the right person that you trust wholeheartedly,
absolutely.
and that you're equally yoked, because you know that you both have each other's backs, and you're not going to make decisions that's going to
Absolutely.
hurt one another, and mistakes will
Absolutely.
happen. But that love and that trust and that faith allows you to bounce back if a mistake was.
Yes. That's where it's the love and the trust that have to be there. Without that, I mean, I dated a couple other people. None of them would I have chosen to follow off a cliff.
Okay. Oh,
So it comes with, that trust and that love and just knowing, okay, this is God put this together, and I'm so very grateful.
Yes, yes. But let's shift lanes one more time. I want to talk about your music a little bit more, because prior to the onset of this conversation, like I said, I thought that your first love was singing, and you went after the role of Charity because you're a singer, but you released a single, I believe it was this past summer. You Won't Stop Breathing. I Won't Stop Breathing. And it was so critical, especially now that we just learned yesterday that the 3 officers involved in the Breonna Taylor's assassination will not be convicted. Can you please talk about that song, I Won't Stop Breathing?
Yeah. It's my heart right now. My brother wrote that song a while ago, and as I progressed through season 4 and then season 5 of Greenleaf, I was, like, okay, God, if singing is certainly a part of the gifting that you have put in me, I want to make sure that I'm using it. And so I was like, Juan, that song that you wrote, I Won't Stop Breathing. I love that song. Can I record that? That's something that I love and that I believe in. And so I had literally done the demo. And then I think it was Ahmaud Arbery. And then it was Breonna Taylor. And when George Floyd happened and we were shut down in this worldwide pandemic, I think me, as much as anybody else, was just broken.
Yeah.
I did not understand, and just cried, and just really, that was for the first time in my life where I was like, God, where are you? I don't feel you. And that was really hard for me. And maybe about a week and a half after George Floyd, the idea just came to me. I call it a God idea because it just hit me. And I asked my husband, would he help me? I said, I was like, my song, I Won't Stop Breathing, I just want to make a visual for it. I feel like it's something that can allow us to feel how we feel. The first line is, I might have to fight the urge to punch you in the face.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure we all feel like that. Might have to scream to keep from crying, might have to turn out all the lights and just go dark. And if I said it didn't hurt, then I'd be lying. You put a bullet in my heart, you left me dying. But then I think it speaks to the hope and the resilience of our people when it says, I can't and I won't stop breathing because you don't like the sound anymore. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to give us permission to feel the hurt and the anger that we feel, but then also to recognize that we are not going to stop, that we're standing here together, that we will not stop breathing, and that we will continue to move forward no matter what they think about us. And I felt like that gave me a piece of hope. And so we wanted to create a visual that would also honor our brothers and sisters that we've lost, but then also give us that are still here some hope that we can stand together and that we will not collectively, we will not stop breathing. And that's what that song did for me. And so I wanted to be able to just put that out and kind of give that to others. Because I know being Black in America, you never really feel like you have permission to feel these things because all of a sudden you're a threat. Your skin alone is a threat. So don't let you be angry and be in this Black skin. It's a threat. And I felt like we needed permission to say, you know what? It is okay to feel this way. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be hurt. It is okay to not understand what's happening and find a way to change it. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream. All of these things are okay.
It is.
And I wanted us to feel like we had the permission to feel that, to be that, to do that.
Yes. I've definitely given myself permission to say I'm angry. I'm an angry Black woman at this point. And even as you were talking, Deborah, I had to take a few deep breaths. And I'm trying to maintain my composure as I talk. Because the world is on.
How can you? How can you? How can you? How can you?
Difficult. It's so difficult in this space, and I have so many emotions that I'm fueled with. But you, as a Black woman, we are the most unprotected. We are the most unsafe. Has there ever been a time where you, as a Black woman, felt marginalized and ignored? And can you talk about that?
When it comes to police or police brutality, no. When it comes to only being seen for something that could possibly be for a Black woman, absolutely. You're a Black woman, so there's only so many roles for you. And we don't really write for you, or this has to be a white woman, or this has to be, or, you should just be a part of the Black theater program. And I remember thinking in undergrad, I said, okay, I would love to do shows for the Black theater program, but I would also like to do shows for the theater program. Black theater is always this small space. You never get the big theater. You always have this small little area to kind of work and play. And it's always after a class that is necessary, and they never get all the time. The way that we have been treated in this entire system is amazing to me. So I was like, look here, I am a Black woman. So I do want to be considered for the Black Theater program. I also want to be considered for all of the program because I'm an actor and I'm a good actor. And so for me, since undergrad, my kind of job that I have given myself is to be so good that you have to be considered for everything, that they can't look at you and deny you. Because that's what we have to be. We've got to be 10 times better than the most basic whatever. And so that's always been the thing that I've put upon myself. And even in undergrad, they started changing and rearranging shows. You know, Miss Julie, I did a show called Miss Julie, which was written as Miss Julie was a white woman and she fell in love with her Black valet. And I was Miss Julie. And the House of Bernarda Alba, I was Bernarda Alba. You know, God allowed me, I had a vision, I had a goal, and I said, I will be good enough to be considered in everything that we do in the theater program. You will not put me in a box. You will not belittle me. You will not act as if I can only do so much. That's what you won't do. And I was able to really kind of re-envision a lot of the theater that we did at Wayne State, and then move on and continue my training. And that's what I want to do now. When you see me, you see a Black actor that is excellent in everything, not just something you think a Black woman can do. I'm going to be excellent in everything. So for me, that's where I felt like my gift and my sort of struggle was to change that narrative. And that's something that I try to do every day. But to me, you know, and that's a small way to change. I think that it can be helpful and very beneficial in this fight. But there's always more to do.
Yeah.
There's always more to do. So I'm always looking for another way to serve, to create change. But as an actor, I know that that's something that I can help create change in.
Well, you know, you kept using the word try. And in my mind, I'm like, she's not trying, she's actively doing. And I'm sure that people who are watching you grace our television screens, it will resonate with them, because not only does your character, you know, on Greenleaf continue to fight. Now that I'm speaking to Deborah Joy Winans, I'm seeing your narrative about continuity, about persistence, about changing the space, about digging deeper, about providing tangible examples that may resonate not only with Black folk, but with the world at large.
Absolutely.
Your presence is very much necessary and needed. And I hope that you really, really own that and acknowledge that. And I'm saying that directly to you. You are much needed.
Thank you. Amen.
So,
thank you.
The song, where can we find it? Because people need to be listening to words of inspiration and encouragement in these trying times. Where can they find the song?
Amen. It's everywhere. Any digital streaming platform, you can find my song, I Won't Stop Breathing. And I hope that it encourages you. I hope that it allows you to feel how you feel, but to keep pushing, because this is not the time for us to lose hope. This is the time for us to kickstart and to really push forward, because a change, it's so sad that, you know, we aren't further along, but we're moving, and a change is going to come, and we just got to keep pushing. You know, I believe that the God I serve is about righteousness and justice, and does not condone all of the foolishness that this current administration highlights and pushes and gets behind. And so it's time for us to use every possible tool that we have at our disposal, and voting is a tool. So we got to get out there. Like someone I think put out there yesterday, the AG is an elected position. So, you know, Kentucky, Louisville, get out there and vote.
Right.
Vote.
And even with the Attorney General, I don't think that people even saw beyond his skin color. They probably voted
No.
him because they thought that he was Black. Well, they know that he was Black, but they thought that he was going to represent Black people, and he's not representing us at all.
No, that man, Lord, don't get me to. He
I know.
ain't Black. That I don't know what that is. That's foolishness. But here's the thing. It's it is a lack of love and care for just a human life.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there. I
No.
don't know how we can literally look at someone lose their life and act as if the police protocol and procedure is more important than taking the life of someone. I don't know how we got there,
Me
but
either.
shame on us.
Yeah.
Shame on us. And we got to get back because we all are part of the human family. And, until Black lives matter,
No lives matter.
no life can matter.
Yeah. So true. So true. We do have to conclude this conversation very soon. So I just want to circle back to Greenleaf because it ended after season 5. So what's next for Deborah Joy Winans? Because we don't want to lose you off of our television screens. What's next?
Oh, thank you. No, you will not lose me. You will not lose me. I actually just shot a film that we wrapped during COVID, and it was really, the safety measures were beyond amazing. It was just I was so uncomfortable because I had to get tested so much.
Oh, wow.
But the safety measures that they put in place to allow us to work in a safe environment are really strong. So big ups to SAG-AFTRA for making that happen. But I just wrapped a film called Don't Waste Your Pretty, written a book of the same name by Demetria Lucas. So it's based on her book, The Young Black Woman, which is fabulous. And so I just wrapped that with Carrie Hilson, which was really fun, directed by Tamara Bass, who is fantastic. And I'm working on some other music that I love. And so I've got a few things under my belt that are coming, and I'm really, really excited about it.
So this new film that you just wrapped, when can we expect it?
It will be coming out next year. So I'm sure once we get closer, the press and the marketing will ramp up a bit. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. So we definitely have to have you back on Sanya On-Air once the film comes out. But just tell my viewers and my listeners how they can still contact you and see all the amazing things that you're doing. What's your website? What's your social media handles?
Oh, absolutely. Everything is Deborah Joy Winans. And it is the long Deborah. I'm very sorry. That is what my mother gave me. Deborah.
My mother spells her name the same way, Deborah.
It's that's what it is. So DeborahJoywinans. That's my website. That's my IG. That's my Twitter. That's my Facebook. So hit me up. I will always respond and let you know that I appreciate you and many things to come. So go to my website and you will get all the things that I have happening. And thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Sanya, thank you for your support. Greenleaf is what it is because of people like you. And your love and your constant making sure you're back in those pews whenever we came out. We got to do that because we had you. And so thank you so much for your support. We love you and we appreciate you. And thanks for the ride. The ride was amazing and there's still more to come. So I'm really excited.
Deborah, you've been an absolute joy. I'm telling you, once I wrap up this conversation, I'm really going to just sit for maybe about 10 minutes and process all of the amazing things that you said. Because like I said, honey, it was a word. And thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for the gifts that you are pouring into the world. It is much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. And the same for you. We all need each other.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you have it, Deborah Joy Winans. We talked for quite a bit of time. I love guests where I can ask them a question and I can just sit back and listen to them speak. And while I sit back and listen to them speak, is because they really have something amazing to say. She's part of such an iconic family, so I'm not even surprised that she is still young with an amazing head on her shoulders. She's uber smart. I can definitely tell. But I'm telling you, there were so many words, messages in this conversation with Deborah Joy Winans. Really take some time to unpack all of the affirmations that she poured out to you in this show. Things that will be able to maintain and sustain us in these trying times. At the end of this conversation, it was very, very difficult for me to hold it together. The world is still reeling from the senseless deaths, murders of Black men and women. Most recently, the world had to digest how the criminal justice system once again let us down. It was announced that the 3 officers who are accused of murdering Breonna Taylor, they got off. There was only one indictment. I don't even know what the damn name of the indictment is. The wandering indictment, the woo-hoo. It made no sense to me. But what the indictment meant was he only was held responsible for shooting into another home. This is Sanya On-Air. The officers were not indicted for killing Breonna Taylor and shooting into their home. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe anymore. But it has not distinguished my courage and my fearlessness to confront injustices. I know that not everyone has the capacity to be on the front line. And even I had to shift the way that I was kind of judging people on social media. I was judging them for simply posting. But maybe that is what God has called upon your life, to just simply share the messages via conversations with your friends or via on your social media platforms. Whatever your calling is, to magnify our presence in America as Black people, please do something. I'm asking you, please do something that will magnify the presence of Black people in America, because we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. But unfortunately, this show does have to go somewhere. We have to leave. Once again, thank you to today's guest, Deborah Joy Winans, for such an amazing conversation, which gave me fuel for thought. I'm telling you, I'm really going to be sitting here for the next 10 minutes thinking about everything that we discussed. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button that is below. And make sure that you also subscribe to every Sanya On-Air streaming platform on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and we have most recently been added to Amazon Music. I love you so much for tuning in to another amazing edition of Sanya On-Air. Oh, and by the way, make sure you go to my website too, www.sanyaonair.com. You can catch up on all past shows, and you can find out about upcoming guests before I post it on social media. I love you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on the first episode of season 8. I have some other amazing celebrity interviews and guests coming up. Thank you so much. Smooches dolls.